In 1971, Gene Wilder signed on to Willy Wonka under one condition. He demanded full creative control over how the character entered the film. The first shot, Wilder said, had to be a fake-out. Wonka would pretend to be crippled, then somersault into the frame. When the producers asked why, Wilder gave them 6 words: "No one will know if I'm lying." The film that was sold to families as a candy adventure was, by design, never a kid's film. You remember it as charming. The musical numbers, the golden tickets, the boy who wins. That is not what it is. Watch it again as an adult with the lights off, and you will notice what your 7-year-old self could not name. The fear underneath everything. The film opens not on Charlie, but on a factory that no one is allowed to enter. Children disappear inside it. The town has stopped asking why. And the factory, when we are finally allowed inside, is more wrong than we expected.
What do you get when you guzzle down sweets?
Eating as much as an elephant eats.
What are you at? Getting terribly fat. What do you think will come of that?
What if the discomfort you felt watching this film as a child was not an accident? What if it was the entire point? What if Gene Wilder smuggled a horror film past 1971 audiences while everyone around him thought they were making a musical? By the end of this video, you will see how he did it. You will see why kids still feel the dread 50 years later, even though no one warns them. And you will see why no one has ever managed to play this character again. To understand what Wilder built, you have to start with the first second he is on screen. In the scene, Wonka emerges from his factory after years of isolation. A crowd has gathered. Wilder walks out with a cane, dragging one leg hunched forward. The crowd falls silent. Then Wonka stumbles. The cane slips. He falls forward into a perfect somersault and lands on his feet, smiling. Wilder demanded this scene in his contract, in writing, before he would sign on. His reasoning, given to director Mel Stewart, has followed the film for 50 years. From that moment on, the audience must never be sure if Wonka is telling the truth. Every promise he makes in the next 2 hours has been pre-poisoned by that one stumble. The candy is suspect. The factory tour is suspect. The contest is suspect. The man in the velvet coat is suspect. By the time the children begin to die, the audience has already been trained to expect betrayal. The scene that broke 1971 cinema for children was not in the original screenplay. Wilder and Stewart added it during production, drawing from the darker poems embedded in Dahl's book. The setup is innocent. A pink river of chocolate, a boat carved like a swan. Music begins. Then Wonka's voice changes.
Which direction we are going, there's no knowing where we're rowing, or which way the river's flowing. Is it raining? Is it snowing?
On screen behind him, the studio cut in footage that had no business in a children's film. Centipedes crawling across a human face, a close-up of an eye, dilated and wet, that lingers too long. Wilder's voice rises into a scream. No music swells to soften it, no cutaway to Charlie, no reassurance. The scene drew genuine terror reactions from children in cinemas across America. It is still remembered, 50 years later, as one of the most disturbing moments in children's cinema. And then the boat docks. The music returns. The film continues as if nothing happened. No adult on screen acknowledges what just occurred. The children are told to keep moving. What follows is the slow disposal of 3 children, one by one. Augustus is sucked up a tube and never seen again. Violet swells into a violet ball and is wheeled away. Veruca is dropped down a furnace chute marked Bad Egg. In 1971, this was unprecedented. Children's films did not let children die. Disney's worst villains were defeated, but children were saved. In Willy Wonka, children are punished and removed, punished publicly with witnesses. The other children watch each elimination. They are told to keep walking.
Don't care how I want it now. Don't care how I want it now.
The film never tells us if they survive. Wonka shrugs. The Oompa Loompas sing. The next child is escorted forward, and after each disappearance, the Oompa Loompas sang. Not laments, not warnings, sneers. Verses pre-written for the moment. as if the deaths had been scheduled. The lyrics are explicit. They tell the surviving children that the deaths were earned, that gluttony, greed, and entitlement deserved removal. They are sung by orange men with green hair in cheerful three-part harmony. These were not creative accidents. They were the structure. Mel Stewart, in interviews years later, said the goal was to leave the audience uncertain whether they had witnessed comedy or cruelty. He succeeded. Roald Dahl was on set in 1971. He was credited as the screenwriter, and he hated what he saw. Dahl had written the book as a moral fable with teeth, a story where greedy children were punished and a poor, honest boy was rewarded. The horror in the prose was deliberate, but it served the morality. The film, Dahl felt, had inverted the priorities. The camera lingered on Wonka, not Charlie. The boy's family was minimized. The factory had become the protagonist, and the protagonist was a man Wilder was playing as unstable. Dahl rejected the film publicly. He refused to attend the premiere. When asked what he thought of Gene Wilder's performance, Dahl said only that Wilder had made the wrong character entirely, that the man on screen was not the Wonka of his book, and he used the only weapon he had left. Dahl had written a sequel, Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator, a second adventure with the same family. Hollywood wanted it immediately. Dahl refused. For the rest of his life, he blocked every attempt to adapt it. The sequel that audiences asked for 19 years would never come because the author had decided the first film was the wrong adaptation of his work. To this day, no studio has made Glass Elevator into a film. This raises a question the channel has circled before. Can a film be good while the author is right to hate it? Can an artist lose control of his own creation and the creation still be defensible? Dahl believed the film betrayed his book. He was, in his interpretation, correct. The film does diverge, but the divergence is what made it survive. The cleaner adaptation of Dahl's text came in 2005. Tim Burton directed it, Johnny Depp played Wonka, it was faithful, it was bigger, it made more money, and almost nobody remembers a single scene from it.
It's to keep all the great big chocolatey flavor inside.
The 2023 Chalamet film arrived 18 years later, a prequel. Brighter, kinder, sanitized of every shadow Wilder had insisted on. It will not be remembered either. What Wilder put into the 1971 film cannot be removed and cannot be recreated, because what he put in was not performance. It was unease. When Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory opened in June of 1971, it was considered a disappointment. The budget was $3 million. It earned around $4 million. It covered its costs and was forgotten by the industry within months. No sequels, no franchise, no Oscar campaign. The studio considered it a quiet failure. By 1973, the film had largely vanished from theaters. Warner Brothers considered it a closed chapter. The cultural memory of it could have ended there. What rescued it was television. In the early 1980s, the film entered heavy rotation on American TV. A new generation discovered it. Then, their parents, watching alongside them, noticed something the original audience had missed. They had been frightened. Their parents had brought them to a children's film, and they had walked out, in some cases, in tears. Some had repressed it. Some told their own children, watching for the first time, that they remembered being scared too. The fear was inherited. In a way no studio could have engineered, the film survived its disappointment by becoming the formative dread of a generation. Wilder never played Wonka again. He turned down every offer for a sequel, every reunion, every cameo for the next 45 years. When asked why, late in his life, he gave the same answer he had always given. The character only worked once. The trick was the uncertainty, and uncertainty cannot be performed twice. Gene Wilder died in 2016. He never returned to the factory. Today, 3 Wonkas exist on film. Audiences agree about which one is the real one, not because of nostalgia, because Wilder built something the other two could not see. He did not make a children's film and accidentally scare children. He made a horror film in plain daylight while the producers thought they were making a musical. And every child who has ever watched it alone in a dark room has known.